Hey everyone, welcome to this video where we're going to do a little crochet with me with a little cute Easter Bunny doorknob cover. I just wanted to take a minute to say I'm really sorry. I'm still learning as far as filming is concerned. So when we get to the ears, it's a little hard to see the work that I'm actually doing. So I just wanted to kind of apologize ahead of time for that. I appreciate if you stick with me. I promise the next video I'm going to try and take better notice of the zoom in function. That was the problem I had. It kind of zoomed in on me, didn't realize it, and I basically completed the doorknob cover at that point. So I just wanted to kind of hop in and let you guys know that I appreciate the support, and I'm sorry if there's any confusion, but I hope that you still enjoy the video and that you guys still have fun if you decide to make this cute little Easter Bunny doorknob cover. If you saw one of my most recent videos, we did one from Women's Circle Crochet for spring of 1983. And in it, they had this really cute Easter Bunny doorknob cover that I wanted to recreate. So I thought we would work on that together today. Easter's coming up, it's springtime. This is cute, a cute project. I don't see doorknob covers anymore ever, but I do remember them from when I was younger. So I thought this would be a fun retro vintage pattern to work. That's the cover of the magazine, just in case you forgot. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on this. We don't need a whole lot of materials for it. We are gonna need a worsted weight yarn. So I'm just using Red Heart, and I picked this pink just because I liked it. I thought it was cheery and fun. I didn't want to do white. You are gonna need a hair elastic. That's gonna be put in, I think, on the last round of the face, and that'll hold it onto the doorknob for us. I always like to use a stitch marker. It just really helps me, especially if I, get called mom duty or something. I can remember where I am stitch-wise. And then I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. So that's what I'm going to use today. We will need some scrap yarn to embroider the face as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So again, this is a vintage pattern. So they don't really use the magic circle that much. You can use it if you choose to. But we'll just go ahead and make it the way they have it here. So it does say that we're going to use white or gray yarn. We're using pink and an H hook. Then chain 4 and join with a slip stitch to first chain to form a ring. So we'll go ahead and do our slip stitch. And then we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and join that to the first chain with a slip. Okay, so now we have a little circle there. So round 1 says we're going to make 6 single crochets into the ring. And then we're going to mark the end of the round. So let's just go ahead and do that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just pull that a little bit snug there, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark this last stitch with my stitch marker, just so I can make sure that I'm keeping good track of everything. So that's the end of round 1. And for round 2, we're going to make 2 single crochets in each single crochet round. So we're going to essentially increase in every stitch. So I'll show you how I'll do like the first 1 or 2 here, and then I'll just finish up the round and I'll meet you back at the end. But let's make sure we have 6. We do. So we're going to go ahead and start in the first stitch. Make sure not to split the yarn. I do like my Red Heart. It's, cost effective. Lots of fun colors. But it can split easily sometimes, and that can be a little bit of a pain. So, okay, so we're going to do 1 single crochet in that first stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and just go back into that first stitch and do a second single crochet. And I'll show you again. In the next stitch, we're going to do 1 and then 2. And this won't take me long. I'll just go ahead and finish this row. 1, 2. So that right there is 6 single crochets. So we're going on to the next with 1 and then 2 then right here, 1, 2, and then in that last stitch, I'll just remove that now. I'm not talking because I have the stitch marker in my mouth. Okay, we'll just go ahead and mark the end of that row. Okay, so that was the end of row 2. So round 3, we're going to single crochet in the first single crochet. Then we're going to increase 2 single crochet in the next. Repeat from asterisk all the way around. So a basic repeat round, and it's going to go like this. We're going to do 1 single crochet in that first stitch. Make sure I get both loops. And then we're going to increase in the next. So even if you're not terribly familiar with crochet or crochet in the round, you can see that you can pick up on the pattern pretty quickly. We're just increasing. So I'll do it again. So it's 1 single crochet in this stitch, and then in the next stitch we're going to increase by putting 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this round and I will be back. Okay, so I finished round 3, and we're going to go on to rounds 4 and 5, and they're going to be exactly the same. So we're going to single crochet in the next 2 single crochets, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch for an increase. So that's going to be working 3 stitches in each part of the instructions here from the asterisk. So 1, 2 for 2 single crochets, and then 2 in the third single crochet. Does that make sense? I'm trying to break it up a little bit. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started on round 4, but we're going to do the same thing for both round 4 and round 5. So it's 1, 2, and then in this third stitch, we're going to increase with 2 single crochets in that stitch. So 3 stitches have now become 4. So I'll do it again. We have 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of round 4, and then I'm going to complete round 5 since the instructions are just the same. And then when round 5 is done, I will be back. Okay, so I just finished round 5. So now we have completed rounds 1 through 5. We're ready to move on to 6 through 9, which is just a single crochet once in every stitch. So I think that this will end up fitting my doorknob, especially with the elastic. But I would suggest if you think your this might be a little bit small, because it is going to puff up a little bit when we do the single crochet rounds. But if you're not entirely sure that this would fit, you could do 3 single crochets and an increase all the way around. And I believe that would work out as well. But I'm going to go ahead and just follow the pattern. And I'm going to head on to rounds 6 through 9, which is actually 4 rounds, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll do a single crochet in each stitch. And I will meet you back here when I have finished that. And then we will be doing the elastic cord part. Okay, so I finished my 4 rounds, round 6 through 9, of single crochet in each stitch. Round 10, we're going to take the elastic cord and we're going to form a circle, tie a secure knot. I'm using a hair elastic. That's just easier for me. And we're going to just do another round of single crochets, but over the elastic so that it's part of the piece that we're making. So I'll show you how I do it. It's not as complicated as it might sound. So I'm just going to line it up here. You can see right there. So it's basically right on top of the stitches I'm working. So for the first one, I'm just going to go in like I normally would. Whoops. And then I'm going to take my working yarn. And I'm just going to wrap it around my needle, or my hook. I'm sorry. I keep calling it a needle. I've been doing a lot of knitting lately. And I'm just going to pull it down around and work the single crochet right over the elastic. So I'll show you again. So you're just going to kind of forget that it's sitting there. It's just, consider it the top part of your crochet from the last round. And you're just going to crochet right over it. So we're going to do that all the way around. A single crochet in each stitch, not an increase at all. We're just trying to get that elastic to sit in there so that when we place this on our doorknob, we have something that will basically secure it there. Now I know that I mentioned if you think that this is too small of a size for your doorknob, you can add an extra row to either increase the size or even the depth, because I know sometimes there are those like kind of deeper, longer doorknobs. So you could make the like round 6 through 9, maybe do 6 through 11, just to kind of make it a little bit bigger if you want. But what I would suggest keeping in mind is that you want to make sure it is small enough so that it stays in place. You don't want the cute little bunny rabbit to slide down, be upside down because it's top heavy or anything like that. So I just wanted to remember to kind of like mention that. So those are just like little things that I don't always think of when I'm modifying a pattern for myself either. So, but again, this is really a simple technique. I'm sure once you see it once or twice, you've got the idea. But I'm just going to go ahead and finish this row, or this round, sorry, and get this on there. And then we can start working on the ears. So it is tightening up a little bit. This is probably maybe a larger elastic than I really need for this project. But truth be told, I didn't really feel like going and finding something else. So I just grabbed one of these. Thank goodness, I actually just bought a new package from the dollar store because my youngest daughter has really super long, thick hair like I do. And she cannot use just any old hair elastic. She sees like the really heavy duty ones. And so I just bought a package for her. And so that is what I'm using. We stole one of her hair ties. Okay, just a few more of these. My youngest daughter has actually not had her hair cut yet. She will be 7 this year, and we have yet to give her her first haircut. She has not wanted one. She really enjoys having long hair. I know we should probably give her a trim, but I'm not too concerned with forcing that on her at the moment. Her hair is pretty healthy. We brush it nicely and keep it washed nicely and all of that good stuff. But she really does like having the nice long hair, and she has no interest in cutting it. So we'll see how long it gets. Right now it's kind of a race between me and her to see who has the longest hair in the family. I don't enjoy going to get my hair cut. If for no other reason than I guess I just don't really see a need for it. I always have it up anyways. But I think I will have to get a trim this year. Oops, did I split that? I don't like that stitch. Let's fix that. I think I'm pulling through the tail a little bit. Yeah, I was. Okay, so here's the last stitch with our elastic. There. And so that round is all done. And then it does say that we can fasten it off at this point. So we'll just go ahead, pull that through and fasten it off. And then we're going to start working on, I don't have to actually mark that. We're going to go ahead and start working on the ears. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all fastened off, set up, and then I'll be back and we'll start the ears. Okay, so I did go ahead, I finished this, and I got the ear pieces together. So in the pattern, it does say that we're going to make 4 pieces using the white or gray. Again, I'm using pink instead. So we're supposed to make 4 ear pieces. I've already gone ahead and made 2, just to kind of get an idea of what they're going to look like. So the way that the pattern works is we're going to work up 4 of these. We're going to be sewing 2 of these together. Then it wants us to make 2 in, where did it say? In pink yarn, which I'm already using. And these pieces are going to be sewn on the inside. So I'm unsure if I'm actually going to go ahead and do that part because I just really wanted to make something fun and quick. I don't know that I want to make 6 pieces for the ears. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll work up one of these ear pieces with you guys so you can see how quick and simple these pieces are. They don't really give you a lot of instructions on how exactly to stitch these together. So I was kind of playing around with it a little bit. I thought at first maybe I'd do like a mattress stitch, you know, sew the wrong sides together, then turn it inside out, and it would look all pretty. But really, there's just a lot of bulk there. So what I found looked the best, at least in my opinion, was just doing a quick little whip stitch up the sides. It does say to leave the bottom open. I will show you how I resolve that in the end. Let's pull this guy out. There we go. But this is kind of how I worked it up. Again, I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind that this is just like a fun little crafty, folk arty piece. It's not, you know, meant to be some kind of like fine handmade good. Doesn't mean you can't take your time and do the absolute best that you can on it. But again, it doesn't really give you a lot of finishing instructions. Just, I think it's just leaving it up to the maker or the artist's, you know, preference. So this was my preference. This is how I worked it. Again, I just did a whip stitch using the tail ends that I had from each piece. You'll have to excuse, I know my hands show a lot of work on them right now. I had gotten a big box of cherries from our neighbor this week, so I had spent a lot of time processing those. You know, I had to pick through them to get the ones that were good. Then we had to pit them. I did some baking with them, but we dried a bunch of them to preserve them for later use. One of my husband and my dad's favorite things that I make with cherries are chocolate cherry scones. So I may make some of those. I did keep all of the cherry pits because I read recently that cherry pits are one of the best conductors for heat retention, I think is how they put it, in heating pads. So I kept them. I, you know, cleaned them up, got all the cherry flesh off of them, and dried those out as well. So I'm planning on using those in maybe a project or two. I have some ideas for maybe like a cute heating pad or something using them. But we'll see. If you're interested in seeing when I work on those things, let me know. I will show you what I come up with. Now, here at the end, it does tell you to leave the opening at the bottom open. And then they want you to sew the center part on, which I did not do. Then it says to sew ears onto doorknob cover, gathering as you go. I didn't do that. I actually, I'll show you how I did that. And I may need some more yarn on here. I forgot to bring my scissors with me, and I'm being too lazy to go get them. So I'm just going to kind of adjust these together a little bit, and we'll go. It's just all scrap. So hopefully that'll hold enough for me to show you how I get those gathered and onto the doorknob holder. And then at that point, we are ready to go as far as decorating the face, and our little cover will be done. Okay, so the best way that this worked for me as far as getting them gathered so that they puckered nicely, just like in the picture, I kind of just did like a running stitch, I guess you would call it. Not the best at knowing my stitch terminology, so forgive me if it's wrong. But I guess like a zigzag, just back and forth, like so. Wish I had left longer tails. Leave longer tails when you're making your ears. That way you don't have to try and attach more yarn. Be sturdy, and you can use it all up, and you won't have these annoying, there we go, little knots in there. But this is not going to show in the end product. as it is, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so once I have all of these running through the bottom, then I'm just going to pull. And so you can see that that kind of gathers it for you. And then just to ensure that it sews on nice and gathered, I just go from one side to the other just to kind of cinch it together like so. Again, that stupid knot. There we go. I'm just going to hide that back in there. Okay. So I just stitch that together a couple of times just to make it sturdy, make sure that it stays gathered at the bottom. I'll snip all that off later. Okay, so then we have our cute little ear, and we want to get that on there as well. So it does say that we're going to be putting those in at the back by the elastic. So I want them really close together to get that bunny rabbit look. So I'm just going to go in right in front of the elastic, pull that bad boy up like so, just to get them on there. We want to start by getting them on there. So once you have it basically attached to the point where you don't have to like mess with him falling off, then you can kind of place it a little bit better. And I did just a little bit of, you know, through the bottom of the ear, maybe the last row or so, and then back in by the elastic. Let me know if anybody else finishes products, or not products, items like this. Just kind of whatever works. That's kind of my theory. I don't sell many of my items, if any. I don't think I've ever sold any of the things that I make. I make a lot for gifts, so obviously I always want them to look nice, but you know, I don't fret too much about it looking perfect. I feel like that's one of the things about it being handmade is it's not supposed to look factory finished. So I don't stress too much about that, though I do like it to look nice. I mean, I'm not going to be happy if I spent all of my time working on something only to have it look like junk. So I guess it's a fine line. You guys let me know what your kind of, what's not personas, your not theories. What's the word I'm looking for, huh? What's your tactic? How do you go about finishing? Do you do a whatever works kind of mentality? Or do you try to follow to a T? How does it work best for you guys? So I'm going to stitch these actually together, one through each stitch on the back of the ears to kind of make sure that they stick together. Oh, I don't think I want that. I don't want to pull up on, I'm pulling up on the elastic. Let's go ahead and get that back in there. Okay, so we want to come up through the elastic because we want this to sit on the doorknob well. So I don't want to hinder that part. Okay, so now I'm going to go back through one stitch on each ear so that they will stand together, because that's what I want. I had made an Easter bunny recently as a test pattern, and I was getting really frustrated with the ears. No matter what I did with them, I just felt like it looked like a dog instead of a bunny until I put a couple stitches in the back to keep the ears standing together. And then I was like, oh, there it is. There's the bunny. I can see it now. So that's just like one little trick that I use. Okay. And to me, that looks like an adorable little bunny. So the last thing we have to do is embroider the face and the eyes. So I'm going to go gather some materials for that. I think I have something coming in the mail today that would work perfectly for the eyes, and I'm really excited. So I hope it did come. So I'm going to go check and see if it's here, And if it is, we will go ahead and get these on. Okay, I'll see you guys back here in a bit. Okay, guys, so I finally got my eyes in the mail. They did not come yesterday, so I had to wait until today. But I got them and I've attached them some fun little googly eyes on this guy. So I know I've been saying for a little bit now that I've been excited to use some googly eyes on some retro patterns. So he's the first one that I'm using them on. Okay, but now that we have some eyes attached, we're going to go ahead and embroider the nose and mouth. In the image, it looks like they kind of just put whiskers on it. I don't know. I think I'm going to do like a little nose and a little bunny mouth, and we'll see. Oops, we'll see how that goes. Plus, it'll give us a chance to kind of cover this little hole where we began. So we're just going to go in and we're just going to play around and see what works, what looks nice. For the longest time, I did not really embroider any finishing on like the little toys and things that I made. I just used, buttons or safety eyes, things like that. And then recently I watched a few like short tutorials on, YouTube or TikTok to kind of give me some tips on, finishing embroidery style. And I was really glad I did because I'm really in love with it now. I find like it gives my end product, look at that, so much more character. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I'd be happy to make a little video. I can show you some of the things that I've learned, kind of group them all together. But again, it's, it was something that for the longest time I did not utilize, and I don't know why, because it's not difficult, but it really took my end product to a new level. And, if you're gifting these, especially to children, it just makes them, I think, have so much more personality, which really, kind of like increases the likelihood that they're gonna just hold on to these for a little bit longer. But okay, so this is our completed Easter Bunny doorknob cover. I think he looks pretty good. Again, I know that I opted not to do the patch on the inside, but follow the pattern. If you want to go all out, do that. Send me pictures. I'd love to see what yours looks like if you make one. But I just felt like with the worsted weight yarn, it was a lot of heft in the ear area. But I will go ahead and make sure to leave the pattern at the end of the video so that if you guys want to go ahead and sit down and make one of these up yourself, you can. I think, honestly, if I was sitting here doing this without recording, this would probably take me 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, depending on how much attention you're putting onto the ears. But this is a quick little project, and it's such a fun retro piece because, again, I can remember seeing these little crocheted doorknob covers when I was a kid at like a grandma's house or something, but I can't remember the last time I've seen one. So it's a really cute retro piece to add to your decor if you're looking for something like that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Again, I apologize for the production of some of this. I'm still learning, but I appreciate it if you stayed with me till the end. So with that being said, I hope you guys make lots of really cute things. If you make anything from the videos, please share it with me online. I'd love to see it. You can find me at Retro Magazines and Patterns on Instagram. But I hope you make lots of fun things, and I will see you soon.